Well, is this the most whispered man about in Washington? The so-called anonymous writer behind the op-ed and new book, A Warning. Stay tuned because I'm about to ask him directly. Earlier today, the New Republic published a piece claiming the retired Navy commander, Guy Snodgrass, may have written the anonymous tell-all book called A Warning about the Trump administration. Here's what we know. The author of the book says he or she was a senior official within the administration and the same person who wrote an anonymous op-ed in the New York Times more than a year ago. In that op-ed, the writer claims senior staffers inside the administration were working against President Trump. We never found out who the writer is. But today, we heard from the man who once correctly named the author of Primary Colors about President Clinton's 1992 campaign. Today, he writes, quote, "My entry in the Guess Who Wrote It sweepstakes is the former Pentagon aide Guy Snodgrass, who would know about many events described in the book. He would have honorable reasons to render his judgments, and revealing the author to be an apolitical Navy officer, not a renegade Republican operative, would elevate the nature of his very serious concerns about Trump's fitness to hold the office of the presidency." Guy Snodgrass is a retired naval commander. He was also Defense Secretary James Mattis's communications director and chief speechwriter. He tweeted out the New Republic article today commenting, "The swirl continues." And now Guy Snodgrass is here. He is also the author of Holding the Line Inside Trump's Pentagon. And if you look at this, the article in the New Republic, Guy, first of all, thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. If you look at the article, the author, David Kusnet, pretty much hits all the high points. I mean, he makes a very good case. And the question is, are you anonymous?
Great question. As you mentioned, I have a book out right now with my name on it called Holding the Line. I do appreciate that the New Republic said that the writing was excellent across both books. That's a great sales pitch. But I'll tell you what, if I was going to make an announcement like that, I'd do it right. I'd come into the studio with you there in New York City.
So you're saying you're not denying that you're anonymous. You're just saying this is not the proper venue to make that statement. Am I hearing you properly?
Now, what I'm saying is I just heard this reporting as I was coming over to the studio. I got invited on to talk about national security. And like you said earlier when you were talking with Jennifer, there's a lot to talk about there.
There is a lot to talk about there, but there's also kind of a lot to talk about here, Guy, and I'm curious because why not just deny it outright? You sent out the tweet. You said you just heard about it on your way to the studio, but you sent out the tweet today, you know, not really denying it, kind of saying the swirl continues. What did you mean by that?
Well, look, it's the latest in a long series of D.C. parlor games. It's not unique to this point in time. I mean, this has been going on for decades and decades. And, of course, I, like many of your viewers, read the anonymous op-ed from last year. So, like I said, you know, it's interesting. I went ahead and retweeted out the story just because it caught my eye and someone put it on my radar.
And here's the detective work behind this. I want to kind of put this on the screen because the author was saying that he did this, and I'm quoting here, "For linguistics mavens with a penchant for forensic analysis, the op-ed uses several words including lodestar and not more that would be familiar to pilots with a literary bent." And Snodgrass shares the same literary agency, Javelin, with Anonymous. Your comments about that, Guy?
Well, I mean, if you go through Holding the Line, I can't remember using lodestar a single time. So already the analysis may be breaking down just a little bit on you.
Is it, I mean, is it one of those things where, because we know that Anonymous really hasn't sold very well, so the sales aren't great, you're coming out with a new book, there's a lot of people out there that would say, you know, this is a great platform to promote his new book. Maybe he's anonymous, maybe he's not. He's got a new book coming out called Holding the Line, right, Inside Trump's Pentagon with Secretary Mattis. So he's got that coming out. What a great platform to be able to say for the next week or so, while I'm not making any kind of claims, hey, I'm not going to say anything.
Right. Well, once again, I mean, to have a platform like that would somehow imply that I had something to do with setting this all up and arranging it. And as you take a look at the current day, I mean, the reporting right before we're talking about this anonymous connection was all about the resignation of Secretary Spencer, or I guess his firing. We don't know what the truth is there. But you can already see just this increasingly politicized environment, and now it's drugged the military into that arena, which is a very dangerous place for us to be. We've got to be focused on national security. We've got to be focused on the external threats facing America.
I'm curious, Guy, when you talk about the Eddie Gallagher case here, Would it be your opinion as a former military guy, and we should point out that you flew F-18s, I mean, you're a direct forward guy. This is kind of reserved for the best of the best. Wouldn't it be the president gives the order and the Navy should just follow that order? End of story?
I would agree with you there. The commander-in-chief, when he has directed that Chief Gallagher would be reinstated as an E-7, that he will retain his trident pin. I mean, there are certainly elements where President Trump has every right to say this is the outcome I'd like to see. I think the concerns, of course, naturally are the selective application of justice. If you're a service member who can catch the president's eye or his ear, then maybe you have a different outcome than a professional who needs to go through the formal system. So there's a lot of questions here. But once again, I mean, this is a distraction. This is a sideshow from what we're really concerned about, which is implementation of President Trump's national defense strategy and making sure that we are protecting America's interests, both at home and abroad.
Namely what? I mean, what's your biggest concern? You say there's kind of a list of them, Guy, but what are we focusing on here? Eddie Gallagher is a distraction. The whole case is a distraction. What should we be focusing on?
Well, I think the thing I'm concerned most about is the increased politicization of the military. I mean, you're seeing the military, just like previously the CIA, the FBI, other government entities which have had a long-standing apolitical reputation being drug into this political furor. It's a very politically charged and polarized time right now. So that's one concern. When you think about if you're an adversary, if you're a competitor of the United States, whether that's China, Russia, North Korea, Iran, and you're seeking to challenge the United States, you're loving what you're seeing right now. We're very distracted. We've got to get back to those basics, back to the fundamentals of being focused on national security.
Lastly, I got to ask you, you served in the White House the same time as anonymous, Guy. I wonder, do you think that he should remain, this person, whoever it is, should remain anonymous or should come out and say, look, this is a problem, if it is a problem, and just be forthright with it? Your thoughts on that?
You know, I felt it was incredibly important to have the opportunity that I did to share my experience serving alongside Secretary Mattis, what I witnessed as I served for a year and a half on his team. And so that's why I felt it was important to not only put that experience out so Americans could read and consider for themselves the facts, but also to put my name to it. So that's where I stand.
Now, we're not saying one way or the other. We just want to point out as well that Joe Klein, back in 1992, when he was called on it, he denied it several times before finally coming out. Guy Snodgrass, good of you to join us. Thank you for answering the questions. We appreciate it.